those visionaries, the people who get really excited about starting those new ideas and pushing these boundaries, a lot of times are the people who maybe lose that focus when the next shiny thing comes, and so having that support to make sure that you have that same follow through, 6 months from now, is really important. But it's really easy to kind of overlook that if you're not delegating, if you don't have that support team. And I think that's one of the things that I noticed when I visited the original RX Clinic Pharmacy. That was probably in 15 or 16. Yeah, it was way back. But I noticed, Amina had an area in the back with like all of these different lists and policies and procedures, and everything was built into a system so that tomorrow it's not going to be something you did yesterday. It's the thing that we do every day. We follow the system, and it's a standard instead of a something that you lose interest in or lose focus on, or let that flame burn out. So you definitely have to have that intentionality if you want that to be ongoing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're right. I think, for a lot of pharmacy owners, when you're looking to see how to innovate or grow, right, one of the biggest challenges is you have to figure out how to go from ownership centric to kind of company or CEO centric, right? And so the idea becomes whether you have, it's just you and a technician to start out with, or as you're looking to see how to grow and expand, it's how do you lay the blueprint or the foundation for your company to be able to get to that growth mode, right? In the beginning, for a lot of pharmacy owners, and I've actually talked to a few pharmacy owners recently that have acquired, new pharmacies, and they're acquiring pharmacies that are new to them but have been in business for a while, and they're seeing, well, what are the opportunities to grow and thrive in this model and what we're trying to do? Because we all know the model has changed entirely for independent pharmacies, and so it's going from we can't be tied to that product anymore. We can't just be focusing on dispensing, but how do we position ourselves to grow, right? And that actually is a very hard thing to do. A lot of people like to, talk about a lot of the opportunities with growth, that there are a lot of resources out there. But when you're in the thick of it, right? Like when you're trying to make that happen, it's hard because, especially as an owner, right? You're the owner, you're also HR, you're also
Yep.
operations, and so it's difficult at a lot of times, I think, for folks to see what that pathway is, and it's not easy. So I always, applaud the team, because Amina has been doing this a lot longer than I've been there, and I always applaud the team for what they did and the steps that she took to kind of get there. So as you were mentioning, kind of like the books and the policies and the procedures in the back, right? It's a difficult thing to do where you're trying to establish that structure or the infrastructure for growth, but it's hard. It's not easy. There's a lot of tears, a lot of growing pains. But I tell Amina, I said, look at where you are today, and a lot of what we do, a lot of the opportunities, we wouldn't have them if she wasn't willing to take a risk. And it is, at the end of the day, it is always a risk, right? You can everyone finds comfort in kind of doing the same thing day in, day out. And pharmacists, we're A-type personality folks. We like order, structure, routine, right? That's why we love Pioneer, because it's a lot of step A to B to C to D that you can implement, right? In what we have, and to have that operation system, to have that process be very straightforward in a lot of ways and simple to use is great. But the creativity that now comes about that, right? And what we can do, it's helped us tremendously in even our own growth, right? And so I think that's the key, is finding the resources, whether that's technology, whether it's people, whether it's financial, whatever it might be, to help position yourself for growth, because if we aren't growing, then we're
Yeah.
dying, you know?